Gastler, and in this video we're going to talk about measurement. This is for your lesson 1 notes, and we're going to start up here at the top with talking about what all measurements have. And when you look at a ruler, they all have these certain digits. Those are the ones that you can read directly from the scale markings on your measurement tool. So those are the little marks that you can see on your meter stick or your graduated cylinder or whatever it is that you're looking at. And those are the ones that everyone is going to be able to agree on because they're the ones that you actually see. We also have estimated digits, and there's only one of those, and those are the ones that you estimate in between the scale markings. We don't always agree on those because, sometimes I might think it's a little bit more to the left than you, and it kind of depends, but usually they're close. So I might say the estimated digit is an 8, and you might say it's a 7, and someone else might say it's a 9, but we're all really close together. Okay, it's not like I'm going to say it's a 1 and you're going to say it's a 9. That's very different. But we do have a rule. Whenever you measure, you're going to make sure that you read to the smallest scale and that you include one estimated digit. We don't include 2 estimated digits, we include 1 estimated digit. So let's talk about what it looks like whenever you are measuring using your measuring device. Okay, the first thing you're going to do is you're going to decide what each unnumbered line represents. Okay, that's really important because you need to know what your scale is. Okay, so this is what it looks like. You're going to take the difference between the numbered lines and you're going to divide by how many numbered lines there are, or the number of lines there are. And so let's take a look at what that looks like. I'm just going to zoom in here. So here's my example. So I've got a 2 here on this numbered line. Usually they're longer than the unnumbered ones, and then I've got a 3 over there, and then I've got these little lines in between. And so I've got the difference between my numbered lines would be 1. Whoops, that's a really big line here. Let me switch. Would be 1, and I'm dividing by I've got the spaces 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 spaces. So I'm dividing by 5. So the value of each of those lines is going to be 0.2. 1 divided by 5 is 0.2. So if I zoom in really far, I can actually write here. This is 2.2. This is 2.4, this one is 2.6, and this one is 2.8. We're going up by 0.2 each time. Okay, so that's how we're figuring out what each of those lines is. All right, so the next thing we have to do is we're going to read the measurement using that measurement rule. And we're going to include all the certain digits, all the ones that we could see, and we're going to include just one of those estimated digits between the lines. If it's exactly on the line, I'm going to underline this, underline that, yep. We're going to include a 0. So if it's right on that line, we're going to write 2.0 or 3.0. We're not just going to leave it blank because that 0 is our estimated digit. We're saying, hey, look, I estimate that it is exactly on that line. And we're going to be cautious about the scales. If we're not going by a power of 10, we're just going to make sure that we're not estimating any smaller, okay? So we're going to make sure we include our units on our measurement because a unit tells us what we're measuring in. It could be grams, centimeters, all sorts of different things. And then that plus or minus 1, that's the estimated digits placed. That is called our uncertainty. So up here we've got the 0.2, plus or minus 0.2. That is our uncertainty. That's how close. Actually, we'd be estimating in between that. So we would be 0.2. The next digit would be our uncertainty in our example. So if we had 2.2 and we're measuring in between the 0.2 and the 0.4, I might measure 0.27. This right here is my uncertain digit, and so I would do plus or minus 0.01, okay, because that is my uncertainty. Okay, we're going to do a couple of examples. We're going to write down the measurement, and then we're going to write down what the uncertainty is, but I'm going to show you how you're going to do this on your practice and on your checkpoint as well, okay? And I'm going to use this little tool right here so that I can write a little bit more clearly. Okay, so right in here is where our arrow is pointing, and it's between the 8 and the 9, and that's all I can see clearly. So my certain digits are, the only one that I can tell is that it is definitely 8 point something, right? So I'm going to write 8 point. Okay, so this is my certain digits. That's everybody can agree that is 8 point something. And then the next one is going to be my uncertain digit, and that's going to be the one that I don't really know. And we might not agree on this, but I think it's definitely bigger than 5. And let's see, I think I would put down a 7. Now you might put down something a little bit different, and so that's okay. Because we're not going to agree on that one. You might put down an 8 or a 6, and that would be fine. I wouldn't put down a 5 because it's definitely not in the middle, and I wouldn't put down a 9 because it's not very close to the edge of that space there. Okay, so my uncertainty would be plus or minus. We'd write it plus or minus 0.1. But more importantly, the uncertain digit is the one that we're going to be marking in on the checkpoint and on your practice. And so this 7 right here, that is our uncertain digit. Okay, I don't remember if we're squaring it or circling it or what we're doing, but that's our uncertain digit right there. That's the uncertain digit. Okay, and so that's the one that we had to estimate. Okay, now this next scale is going a little bit different. These aren't all marked, but if you can see, we're just skipping a number. So this is 0.2, this one must be 0.3, that's a 3. This is 0.4, and this must be 0.5, that's 0.6, this must be 0.7, 0.8, and 0.9. And my arrow is pointing between the 0.7 and the 0.8. So the number that I can see, that everybody can agree on, the certain digits is 0.7. And then it looks like it's definitely closer to the edge. It's not quite half. I might put 0.72. Now, if you put 0.73 or 0.71, that would probably be okay too. I wouldn't say 4. It's definitely not 0.0, okay, or 0.70. And so that would be the difference there. The certainty here is plus or minus 0.01 this time. And this 2 is our uncertain digit, okay? And down here, I've got 0.2, 0.4, 0.6, 0.8. It's the same scale as before. So this is a 0.3 and a 0.5 and a 0.7, and here's a 0.9. Do you have to go in and label them every single time? Probably not. But do you see how my arrow is pointing right on that 0.9? So I'm going to write 0.90. This 0 tells me that it's right on the line. This is my uncertain digit, but I know it's right on that line. Okay, but I need to include it so that I know that it's right on that line. Okay, so this is plus or minus 0.01 again, but I have to include that 0.0. Now this one, I've got 200, 400, 600, and 800, so I'm missing the odd numbered hundreds. So 300, 500, 700, and 900 are going on those lines. And it's between 500 and 600. And this one might be a little weird to write. So 500, but it's not quite 600. It's pretty close to 600. How close to 600 do I think it is? Well, let's see. That would be 550. I might go 580. Now, do I think it's 585? I don't know. I can only estimate one number. So this is the only number that I can estimate. And so I'm going to circle that. That's my uncertain digit, okay? I wouldn't put a number here. I can't estimate that much because it's too big of a scale, okay? Don't estimate this one because you can't see that well. I mean, maybe you could. Maybe you have better eyes than I do. Maybe if I could zoom in some more, maybe I could be like this, and like add some more tick marks. But I on your paper, you really can't. Maybe if you had a magnifying glass and you could add some more marks, you could. But so this, my plus or minus, my uncertainty here is 10, okay? I really can't estimate more than 10 in on that scale because that's how much distance there is between the marks. Now here is a fun one. So this is, I've got 2 and I've got 3 right there. And if I count my marks, 1, 2, 3, I'm counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There's 10 there. So these are going to be, this will be 2.1, 2.2, 2.3, 2.4. We're going up by 0.1s here, 2.5, 2.6, 2.7, 2.8, 2.9. So right here where my mark is between 2.9 and 3. So I'm going to write 2.9. Everybody can see 2.9. I have to estimate one more digit. It's not quite in the middle. It's closer to the other side. I might go 2.92. If you wrote 2.93 or 2.91, that would be okay too. This is my estimated digit. These are my certain digits. This is my estimated digit, my uncertain digit, okay? And my uncertainty would be plus or minus 0.01. Okay, so all measurements have uncertainty due to a couple of things. They have uncertainty due to so the uncertainty can be due to three things here that we'll talk about. And that first one is, something's missing. The person making the measurement. The person making the measurement can have an effect on the tool. So I might have a harder time making some measurements because of my contacts or my ability to see the marks on the meter stick. That will affect whether or not I am able to read the device or see it clearly. The next thing is the device there. There we go. The tool being used. Some of my meter sticks have harder to read edges. The ends are kind of rounded in some places, so you might be starting at a different zero or another. Some rulers have marks to the 1/8 of an inch. Some of them have marks to the 1/16 of an inch. Some measuring tools mark 1/2 centimeter, but they don't mark the millimeters. Some mark only a centimeter and not in between the centimeters. So that's going to decide that. We actually saw that up here where some of them have marks in between and some of them don't. So it depends on the tool that you're using. And then the last one that it depends on is the conditions during the measurement. So if the lighting is really good, you might have an easier time seeing things. If it's really windy and wobbly, the thing that you're trying to measure, you'll have a harder time making a measurement and telling where that thing is. If you have an object that is not very stable, you'll have a harder time making a measurement, so you can have a different amount of uncertainty depending on the conditions that you're making the measurement. So what you're going to be doing after this is a measurement lab, and then you'll have some practice that you're going to be doing, and that is where you are at for the lesson 1 measurement notes. Make sure you ask your teacher if you have any questions. She will be happy to help you out with your measurement. Thanks for watching.